Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of B.S.ing Sports here on the B.S.ing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. As with me, as always, for our baseball shows on Saturdays is Ryan. I know we had a hiatus last week. Congratulations to Ryan for graduating college. That's
Woohoo.
why we were on our hiatus, but we are back. We are happy to bring you the Immaculate Grid thing that we've been doing the last few weeks. As you can see underneath of our names, Bill, that's me, is 4 and 2. Ryan is 2 and 4. But yeah, how you feeling today, Brian? You've seen the grid.
Bounce back week, baby. Here we go. I've already got a few names that I could fit in a few different squares, and that's part of the strategy, right? Is figuring out, which square you'd get the best score for that player. So, yeah, this will be another interesting grid, another grid where obviously you'll stay competitive because there's no teams on there, but
hey, just because I would say we could do it on a different day, except then I would have a very, very, very losing record, and I don't like that. So we're cool to just keep doing them on Saturdays.
Yeah, we'll keep doing it on Saturdays. Let's just jump right into it, I guess.
Yeah, let's get it. Yeah.
My grid, because as per the rules, I get the first go since I lost last week.
Or 2 weeks ago, but yeah.
Yeah, last time we played. So,
While Ryan thinks about his first pick, I am going to make a quick announcement here. We are doing for the Central Florida, Orlando area, we're doing a small get-together at the local pub by us called Three Odd Guys Brewing. You guys should check them out. They got great beer. Just like a little meet and greet where we sit down with a bunch of people, talk sports. So we're going to put that out on Facebook and Twitter here in the near future, and we'll get you updated on that.
And leading off on the Immaculate Grid, I have selected Chris Carpenter for Cy Young and less than 3 ERA in a season for a 0.6 percentage on that square. For those of you listening that cannot tune in, this week's Immaculate Grid on the left side from top to bottom, we have 2,000 career strikeouts as a pitcher, a season of 3 ERA or less, and Gold Glove. Across the top left to right, we have Cy Young through a no-hitter and born outside the U.S. 50 states and D.C. Speaking of that, before you go ahead and switch to your grid, fun fact, Bill, did you know that there is one player who is technically born at sea?
I did not know that. Who is it?
Ed Porre. He pitched in 3 games back in 1914, but his official location of birth is the Atlantic Ocean.
That is kind of a cool fact. All right. So we're going to switch over from mine.
Why you would go out like on a boat when you're that pregnant? Kind of weird, but
yeah,
people get to live their lives.
To each their own, right? Let's see. I'm going to tackle.
And while Bill's thinking about that, so just a refresher on the rules, guys. So we obviously alternate taking turns. And there's strategy to this because we cannot fill the same person in that another person has. That's a very good guess. I actually did have Catfish Hunter in my head. But we cannot use the same person. We can't even guess the same person as the other person. So
so hypothetically, if I guess somebody and I'm wrong, Ryan can't use that guy anywhere else on his grid.
Yeah, Bill can use him again, but I cannot use him. Yeah, so Catfish Hunter for 2,000 career strikeouts and threw a no-hitter. That's a very good one.
0.4%.
I had Catfish Hunter in mind. So top left here, 2,000 career strikeouts and Cy Young. Representing the Orioles today, myself, I'm going to go Mr. Jim Palmer for 2%.
I had Jim Palmer. I also had Jim Palmer.
Yeah, Jim Palmer was one of the 4. I told you I had 4 names that would fit all around there, and he was one of them.
Yeah. I don't know how to spell his last name. Do you remember Juan Marichal?
I do remember Juan Marichal.
Oh, everybody remembers Juan Marichal. 15%.
Ooh. That's actually not going to be that bad, right? He's not the first name that comes to mind for that square. So,
I mean, it could be bad if you don't get one that's up there too.
Oh, yeah, let me bring my grid up. Not be stupid about it. 2,000 career strikeouts through a no-hitter. 3 ERA season. Top. I'm gonna go Doc. 6%.
All right. Well, at least there's that.
2,000 career strikeouts. Actually, like a fairly bad percentage considering there's like 400 no hitters ever thrown. So,
I'm gonna go R.A. Dickey for Gold Glove, Cy Young for 2%. Not as good as I was hoping it'd be. I was hoping people forgot that he won the Gold Glove.
I mean, in reality, like it's only 1 point off. Still, is 1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, born outside the U.S., 50 states, and D.C., less than 3 ERA in a season. I have a which square do I want to use? I know he definitely did this, so I'm gonna put him there. Johan Santana for less than 3 ERA and born outside. I'm not sure he had 2,000 career strikeouts. I know after he actually threw his no hitter for the Mets, if you remember, he had that like 131 pitch no hitter. His career pretty much just went downhill from there. So,
yeah, I do remember that actually. Polanco for Gold Glove, born outside U.S., 0.4%.
Nice, very good. Placido Polanco.
Yeah, that was the name I thought of when I said I got a kind of an obscure name. I guess he's not really that obscure because he was at the Phillies 2 different times, so we know who he is. But
Cole Hamels for less than 3 ERA in a season and threw a no hitter. Cole Hamels did not actually have a less than 3 ERA season until after Cliff Lee showed up.
Jake Diekman finished off his 1 no hitter for him. 0.03% on that.
Nice.
I forgot about the Hamels and Diekman until you put Hamels in there.
So it allows like no hitters defined as a complete game. Oh, and pitchers who participated in a combined no hitter. How about that? I didn't even know that was
15% is still hurting me, but thank you for playing Cole Hamels.
I mean, ultimately, it's only going to matter if we tie.
Yeah.
That's probably why Diekman's so rare because, like, I didn't even think to look if people who were just involved in no hitters could. I
think we had the no hitter category a few weeks ago when we were sitting at the bar messing around, and I think I remembered it can be as long as they participated in the game. So while I took a shot at it, I got lucky because it is a participation award. So
threw no hitter, Gold Glove.
There's got to be a bunch
I'm taking a shot in the dark here. Adam Wainwright did not do one of those 2 things. Thought he threw a no hitter, so probably didn't win a Gold Glove. Oh, you know what? He was a Silver Slugger guy. That's what it was.
Waino, yeah, that does check out.
Yeah. I always mix up those like obscure pitcher awards that aren't really a thing anymore.
I don't know that he did it. No, he definitely threw a no hitter. Phil Negro for 4%. Not as good as I was hoping.
There you go.
I wasn't sure he threw a no hitter, and then I was like, "That's stupid." He definitely threw a no hitter.
Roberto Clemente for 12%. That's probably going to be the most popular pick there. I was going back and forth between him and Pudge.
See, I know. I know Pedro goes in that sub-3 ERA born outside, and Cy Young actually. But man, he's got to be popular, right? He's got to be popular.
That's
who I don't want to use him.
The square that you have won Marichal in, that's why I think is probably the most popular pick.
You already used Doc Holliday, right?
Yeah.
Spell his name wrong every time. Oh, Greinke for 1%.
That was another name that I had. He was another one where I was like, did he win a Gold Glove or Silver Slugger? I couldn't remember because he's a pretty good hitter in his time too. Let's see, 2K, born outside the U.S. And D.C. I didn't get to use the name that I really wanted to use today, which stinks.
What was that?
Tim Lincecum.
He didn't win a Gold Glove?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I also don't know. I'm not trying to edge it in that direction. I don't know if he won a Gold
I
Glove.
wanted to use him for Cy Young in less than 3 ERA season, but then Chris Carpenter popped in my head. I was like, yeah, he's probably more rare.
Cy Young sub 3. Cy Young sub 3. Did he have sub 3?
Gross. That seals the deal.
It almost does, yeah, so long as I don't whiff on both of these. But like I said, I got a name that can fit in either of these boxes. I just have to decide where I want to put him. I don't know that he had a sub 3 ERA the year that Heath got his Cy Young, but Trevor Bauer, 0.9% on Trevor Bauer.
Yeah,
I wasn't 100% he had a sub 3 ERA, but I knew he had the Cy Young.
Well, I'm curious now that you say that, how many people who have won a Cy Young didn't have a sub 3 ERA?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that would be hard to do because that would just mean we got some like league-wide terrible pitching.
Yep. So you get one more guess. I got one more guess. And like I said, I've been using, unless you use Pedro right here, I'm using Pedro in that one square.
That's who I was going to use actually because it's the only name I can for sure think of. 189, not fantastic. Pedro, yeah. See, Pedro was the most common in that square, 48%.
Okay, I have another very common name. I'm sure of it, Mariano Rivera, for 11% there. Yeah. So I score a 35. I get a. As Ryan alluded to at the very beginning of the show, these statistic ones I'm very good at. I just couldn't tell you for the life of me who played for what team in their career.
Okay, here we go. So we have 10 players that threw a no-hitter and have a Gold Glove. So let's review this real quick. Mark Burley, Bob Gibson, Clayton Kershaw, Mark Langston, Phil Niekro, Jim Palmer, Kenny Rogers. I always forget about Kenny Rogers. Brett Saberhagen, Johan Santana, and Fernando Valenzuela. Well, all right. And then 15 won a Gold Glove and a Cy Young. Man, I knew Jake Peavy did that shit. I should have just ripped it.
Well, let's
Shane Bieber, Steve Carlton, R.A. Dickey, Bob Gibson, Zach Greinke, Ron Goodry, Oral Hershiser, Clayton Kershaw, Dallas Keuchel, Greg Maddux, Jim Palmer, Jake Peavy, Brett Saberhagen, Johan Santana. A lot of Dodgers on this list.
Why does that not surprise me?
And then the last one I want to take a look at, 2,000 career strikeouts and born outside the U.S. Bert Blevin was born outside the U.S. Holy shit. Ryan Dempster wasn't born in the U.S. Oh, he's Canadian. Stupid Canadians.
That's funny.
All right. Well, another week, another L.
As you can see, I've already adjusted my record there.
2-5.
All right.
I feel like Cole Hamels just going, really shitty record and, but, I'm just getting no run support, man. I have great rarity scores, but just can't get any wins.
All right, so moving on to our next category, we're going to start talking about here on our Saturday shows is some of you may know of it. It is called Beat the Streak. It is on the MLB app that Ryan and I obviously both have. Most of you probably listening have the app.
Beat the Streak's been around for some time. It used to be its standalone website. I mean, Beat the Streak's been around for as far as I know, quite a few years.
Yeah, like I told you last night, I've been doing it back when Jason Worth was on the Phillies. So it's been around for a long time.
So for those of you that don't know, though, Beat the Streak is a game you can play. It's now tied in the MLB app, as Bill mentioned. The goal is to pick a player who you think is going to get a hit today and kind of extend your own hitting streak. Now, you can pick any player on any given night. They do recommend, that you pick players who are actually in the starting lineup and going to play that day. But you build up your streak, and you have a chance to double down every night. So you can, instead of just picking one guy, you can pick two. What happens is if that player you pick gets a hit, you build your streak. So right now I'm currently at 6. For example, I have Connor Joe and JD Martinez from 2 nights ago. And then last night I had Connor Joe again and Jonah Heim, and they've all gotten hits. So I'm currently sitting at a 6-game hitting streak. Today, my picks, I've got Alec Bohm, who's hit .331 on the season, going up against Mackenzie Gore tonight. Career, 3 for 10 off of Mackenzie Gore, and it's a good righty versus lefty matchup. So I'm confident Alec Bohm can get a hit.
Yeah, I'm going with another Philly, not to sound like a pair of homers. I'm also going with Alec Bohm, but Ryan and I have had this discussion several times. Up until you get to about 40 consecutive streaks, you should do 2 a day because it counts as 2 wins, right? I'm also using Alec Bohm.
And real quick, I forgot to clarify that. If you double down and pick 2 players and one gets a hit and the other doesn't, your streak goes back to 0.
Correct, it does.
That's the risk that you run with doubling down. Now, my opinion,
I've had that same scenario happen to me 2 nights in a row now. I had actually gotten up to 14, and now I'm back down at 0.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, to me, until you get to 56, just keep doubling down. That's my thing.
I feel like I'm the kind of person who, if I got to 40, I'd be like, okay, now I got to really hone in and take it serious. 1 and 1. I mean, 16 extra days ain't that big of a deal. 17 extra days if you've got to 40. But the other person I'm going with is Bryce Harper, who's hitting .263 on the season. Again, going up against Mackenzie Gore. He's 4 for 14 lifetime against Mackenzie Gore. It is a lefty on lefty matchup, but as Ryan and I discussed last night, usually an elite hitter like Bryce Harper doesn't go 0 for in back-to-back nights. So I'm riding my gut here. I think Bryce Harper will get a hit tonight, strictly because, like I said, he went 0 for last night. Christian Gucci, you did miss the squares. I won for the 5th week in a row.
Yeah, five consecutive weeks. Did you see? It looks like they might have added something. So, like, they add your stats for when you pick a player.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so the other player that I'm picking, because again, I'm doubling down. I'm here to win big. The other player I'm going with is Marcus Semien. He's batting .276 on the season. Last game, he went 1 for 4. He has an active 2-game hitting streak. And I picked him because he's going up against Patrick Sandoval, who has a .300 career average lifetime against. Sandoval, the lefty for LA. And Sandoval's got like a 5 ERA, so he's not exactly, picking him up and putting him down out there. So I just feel like Marcus Semien, due for at least another hit. All I need is 1. The other day, I was actually saved in my streak by the fact that the Phillies-Mets game went into extra innings when JD Martinez got his hit in the 11th. Yeah, so to me, I play about the odds. Bill plays with his heart, and at the end of the day, neither one of us are actually going to win anything, so it doesn't really matter.
If in the chance that the game is rained out, I do believe they just void the pick. So for me, it would mean I didn't get anybody. But I think that's how that works.
There's like a whole set. They have every scenario possible covered for the rules. So if it rains out and the game doesn't count and has to get rescheduled, it would just null it and void it, and then you'd probably just pick again.
Move on, yeah.
Yeah, they have rules for. I try to avoid like double headers too, just because like I don't really feel like reading all the rules about like which game it actually takes from the player. They should just take the game where the player gets a hit. But and why do you play this game? Very simply because the prize is $5.6 million for whoever can break Joe DiMaggio's famous 56-game hitting streak. So
to put that in perspective, it's $187,000 a year for the next 30 years or whatever it is.
Yes. So the prizes get paid out. You get like a $3.1 million lump sum, or over the span of 30 years, you get $187,000 before tax, which is pretty darn good money. So
I would say that's good money.
Yeah. So that's why you play. The all-time leaderboard has the highest streaks at 51. There are 2 with 51, and there's 1 with 50. Do you know how sad I would be if I got that close? I probably wouldn't play again. The longest active streak right now is 26 games. 2 people have that. The longest streak this season is 29 games. So, yeah. And some little individual stats for me. Bill, you can pull yours up as well. My best streak on the season is 9. My pick accuracy is 71.4%. So, every three out of 4 pretty much I'm getting them right, which is good. That's really reassuring.
Yeah, my best streak is 14. Like I said, I just broke it 14. I have no active streak going right now. However, my pick accuracy is 79.41%. So about 80% of the time I'm guessing correctly.
There you go.
So
4 out of 5.
If I can just
if
I can just string them together, I'll be fine. I just got to string them together now.
All right, let's go Bomer. Let's go Simeon. Let's go Harper. Let's go Phillies. Let's make some money. Amen.
But before we go to talking to the Phillies, which we will get to in this show, let's talk about the standings. I have the NL this week. Ryan has the AL. We'll let him start with the AL West.
We'll finish with the NL East because we're just going to segue right into the Phillies. AL West. This division has been severely disappointing compared to preseason, expectations. Particularly when you think about the reigning World Series champion is in this division. But the Seattle Mariners sit up top at 24-21. Their pitching is like out of this world. So, fun fact, George Kirby, I saw a stat on him like a week and a half ago, through 49 career starts, he had 25 walks.
That's pretty good.
It's very early in his career, but we're talking potentially like best control pitcher ever. And that's simply that might be better than Maddox. It might be better than Halladay, guys that we grew up watching. And I say that because Maddox and Halladay, were low to mid 90s. Maddox, was down in the 80s. George Kirby throws like 97 or 98 miles an hour, and he's able to control the ball like that. So, huge part of the reason for his success is just his ability to avoid the walk.
In his last 15 games, he has walked just 5 batters.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, so strike throwing machine. But yeah, Seattle Mariners sit up top. Great pitching. As we talked about 2 weeks ago, they probably still need to add a bat if they're going to be seriously contending. The Rangers 23-23. They are 3-7.
Thanks for the Back It Up Binge podcast for joining us here today. He says, I was just looking at the Beat the Streak today. He said it's been a while since he played. He took Witt and Shohei today just to kick it off. I think those are good picks. I also was considering Witt, and Shohei, you're going to have to just bank that he's going to get a hit in most games, right?
Yeah, generally like that. Those are solid picks, right? If you pick good hitters more often than not, you'll be right. But
yeah.
And in third place, screaming up the standings, we've got the Houston Astros at 20-25. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Pitching's finally starting to come around a little bit. The Oakland Athletics are 19-28. They are the opposite of their last 10. They're 2-8. And the Los Angeles last place Angels will stay there for the entirety of the season, more than likely, just because Mike Trout is on the shelf and he's the only player on the team worth talking about.
Yes. Concur. All right, let's go on to the NL West. We have
Christian Gutierrez says Astros winning the division. Book it. I would like the odds on that, please.
Find the odds, throw it in the chat, and we'll talk about it.
Yep.
NL West. We have the Los Angeles Dodgers leading the way here at 30-17. Their run differential is plus 80 right now. That's kind of good. It's kind of good.
They're a good team.
San Diego, yeah, no kidding. San Diego Padres are 23-24, 5-5 in their last 10. Diamondbacks in third place, 21-24. They've been a little disappointing this year, considering they're coming off of a World Series debut.
Both World Series teams combining for what is that, 44 and 47?
Yeah,
not a very good start to the season for those guys.
Then you got the San Francisco Giants at 21-25, and then the lowly Colorado Rockies at 15-29. Like Brian said, the Dodgers, that's a damn good roster over there. They're gonna be tough to beat for anybody in the NL or AL for that matter.
They have Philly syndrome though, which is kind of interesting. So, I'll touch on what that is in a little bit when we talk about the Phillies. But moving on to the AL Central, whereas the AL West is far worse than I thought they would be. The AL Central is far better than I thought anybody thinks they would be.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah,
the Cleveland Guardians and the Kansas City Royals both have pretty much a +50 run differential. I mean, they are very, very good baseball teams right now, and they pitch very well too. Particularly the Guardians, with their ace being on the shelf for the next 18 months.
Yeah.
However, Cleveland sits top the division, 28-17. Kansas City Royals are next at 27-19. Minnesota Twins are 24-20 in third place. Detroit Tigers are at 500, 22-22. And the Chicago White Sox, since our last show, have put some wins together, right? This is not a team that is obviously going to compete for the division title. But I think on our last show, they had 6 wins.
They did have 6 wins, yeah. So they won 8 games in 2 weeks.
They're 14-31 now. So, I mean, they're doing much better than what they were. But, I mean, they're still by far the worst team in baseball.
No, that honor goes to the Miami Marlins, which we'll get into in a minute. But they're there. They're right there.
Yeah, the Marlins have been bad too.
Yeah. NL Central, Milwaukee Brewers at 26-18. They are 6-4 in their last 10. Then you've got the Milwaukee Brewers doing this, by the way, without Corbin Burns, who they traded to the Baltimore Orioles, and without Brandon Woodruff, who's been on the shelf the entire season. Freddie Peralta leads that staff, and they're doing phenomenal right there in Milwaukee right now. Chicago Cubs in second place, 25-21, 4-6 in their last 10. The Pirates, who just continue to falter, 21-25. Cardinals, 19-25, and the Reds falter.
Bailey
I like that.
Pitching tonight for the Pirates.
He is. Cincinnati Reds round out the division at 19-26. I still say they're one of the most exciting teams to watch. They're young, they're talented, they're going to be good here in the next few years. That's the Reds. The Pirates, Paul Skeens yesterday fans the first 7 batters he looks at. And then ends up going 6 innings and no hit ball, and then he's pulled in the 7th. He goes 6 1/3, no runs.
He went 6
great
innings,
second outing.
6 innings through 100 pitches, and he's the first pitcher in Pirates hit. What was the stat? Pirates history or first pitcher this season? Something to fan 11 batters. So. I mean, he, solid outing, too many pitches. The umpire in that game was atrocious.
Yes. I think he came in at 89% accurate.
So it was the worst game umpired as far as accuracy goes. Before last night's game was 84.9%. Last night's game was 84.8.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's just atrocious. We've said it before. I'll say it again. Get us the pitch challenge. Get us the robot umps. Get us something, man. We can't keep dealing with this. Let's address
for what it's worth.
I've
been before we get into that comment. I've been watching a ton of minor league baseball. The pitch challenge thing, the way they're doing it in the minors, is really, really good. They're not showing up the umpires. They're not putting it on the big screen out in left field. They're just tapping their helmet. The umpire turns around. He gets the answer. He's out or safe, and it's the end of it. It's like a 2-second process. So if the MLB is actually worried about extending the game, that's a really bad lie, because that's not what it's doing in the minors. Yes, let's talk about Chris Gucci's comment here. He says, "Can we talk about the future Hall of Famer that Paul Skeens is?" He's had 2 starts, and one of them didn't look good, man.
It's funny you say that, just because Jake, being an LSU homer, said the same thing yesterday, and gave a very realistic take that, he's probably going to get Tommy John and end up out of the league at some point within the next 5 to 8 years.
Steven
That's just
Strasburg.
that's just the reality of the situation. Mechanically speaking, I mean, his toe tap timing, the inverted W, it puts a lot of stress on his arm and looks a lot like Steven Strasburg. I've seen Mark Pryor comparisons as well, and both of those guys were. You'll probably remember more Mark Pryor than me. He was coming up a little bit before me, but still, I mean,
I remember Pryor.
Those guys were heralded as the next big thing, and injuries both took them out. So that's probably what's going to happen to Paul Skeens. That's my guess, is that he is going to be hurt and out of the league within the next 10 years tops.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. AL East. Very, very, very good division. This one, as far as where the teams sit, this is probably about on par with our preseason prediction. I think the only difference is the two teams at the bottom. We'd probably have them flip flop as far as record goes.
I did, yes,
but
yep.
Yeah, so the New York Yankees are up top right now. They're 8-2 in their last 10, 31-15 overall. Them and the Baltimore Orioles just keep jousting back and forth for who's in first place. Baltimore's in second, 28-14. They just played 3 less games. They have 1 less series played than the Yankees, so we'll see how that pans out. In third place, Tampa Bay Rays. With the Wander Franco fiasco, we'll call it, in the offseason, they are staying surprisingly afloat. 24-22. Yeah, fiasco. And then Boston Red Sox, one of the best pitching rotations in baseball right now, 169 runs allowed on the season. That's top 10 for sure. If only they could hit the broadside of a barn. 22-23, 3-7 in their last 10, again, to no fault of the pitching. The bats just haven't come around. They just don't have a good lineup, and we knew that going into the season. And to round out the AL East, you have the Toronto Blue Jays at 19-24. They have the exact opposite problem that the Boston Red Sox have. They can't. I mean, they can't pitch. Actually, they can't hit either. So they have every problem in the world. It really is actually the lineup that's concerning for me, because when you looked at the names a few years ago, you saw Vladdy Jr., you saw Bo Bichette, you saw Kevin Biggio, and you're like, man, this is going to be a good team. Teoscar Hernandez was there at the time, and they just have not. I mean, Vladdy's been descending the last 3 years. He was a AL MVP candidate, and then last couple seasons, like 28 home runs, isn't even breaking 30 homers anymore. He's been descending. I think that's a problem.
It's almost like when they made him lose weight, his talent went with him. I mean, I'm just being honest. He lost weight, and all of a sudden he can't hit the ball. Sometimes you just got to let guys be guys.
Yeah. Let Benintendi and Scott Kingery be gap hitters instead of changing their swings for launch angles.
Yes. Moving on to the NL East, our favorite division to talk about. The Philadelphia Phillies sit at the top of Major League Baseball with 32 wins right now, 32-14. They're 7-3 in their last 10. The Atlanta Braves keeping pace on some level, 26-15, 6-4 in their last 10. The Washington Nationals in third place.
Away.
Yeah, I know. Why can't they just go away? No. The Washington Nationals at 20-23 are in third place in that division. The New York Mets 20-24, fourth place. And then, like I said before, the worst team in baseball right now, the Miami Marlins at 14-32.
3 straight wins.
Segue right into the Phillies. Say that again.
3 straight wins for the Marlins, though.
That's true. Let's segue right into our Phillies.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's nice to take some time out of the show. We love talking baseball, but obviously we love our Philadelphia Phillies. Yes, I am wearing a Baltimore Orioles hat. I got it for $7 at Ross. It feels very, very comfortable. That's why I'm wearing it. Plus, it matches the orange shirt. But, yeah, it's all about Philadelphia sports here, ladies and gentlemen. So, that being said, yeah, the Phillies have an issue. And it's not an issue that they can control, but they have only played 3 games this season against teams that are above 500 right now. They lost the opening series to the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a huge believer in you can only, play the hand you're dealt, right? So MLB put this schedule out there. The Phillies are handling business. You got to handle business against bad teams, and they're doing it. Yeah. Ryan and I said this last night. You go 500 baseball here out, they win 92 games this year.
Both things can be true in the sense that the Phillies are still a World Series contender who have had an unprecedentedly easy schedule to this point.
Mm-hmm.
So the breakdown is going into each series against the teams that they've played, 3 of them were above 500 at the time the Phillies played them. 3 of them were at 500 at the time the Phillies played them, and 8 of them were below 500 when the Phillies came into town and started that series. So even if you look at it like that, it's just been unprecedentedly easy. But to Bill's point, good teams do what? They beat up on bad teams, and that's exactly what the Phillies are doing. So are they the best team in baseball? I would love to think so. I would love to say yes. Ultimately, I think I think they're probably not. But at the same time, are they a World Series contender? Absolutely. And that's what I meant by the Dodgers have Phillies.
I agree with all. I agree. Yeah, I agree with every statement you made there. Yeah.
And that's why I said the Dodgers kind of have Philly syndrome too. Gets a little bit more overlooked because the Dodgers have had, better regular season success over the last decade, and they're obviously an established good team as well. But they've only played 9 games against teams above 500, and a large part of that is because the NOS sucks. Everybody below the Dodgers is below 500. Whereas the Phillies have only had 3 games against the Braves, and the rest of that division isn't very good either.
That is correct, yeah.
So
it's good. We talked about this yesterday at the bar, though. It's good for the Phillies to handle business against the Marlins. Took 2 out of 3 in Miami last weekend. Listen, you chuckle at it, but the last few years, the Marlins have had the Phillies number in the regular season. They just have.
Yeah, I've been so sick of watching the Marlins just beat up on the Phillies. Some of these games have been really uncompetitive, and it's irritating because Cole Hamels used to get beat up by the Marlins a lot too, and it was just frustrating to watch. We're the better team, but somehow we just can't get out of our own way against the Marlins.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. All right, let's move on to who is hot. Obviously, we can continue to talk about the Phillies who are hot, but let's talk specifically about players. I'm going to start off with. Okay, I was going to go with a pitcher. Who do you got?
Okay, so. Just for reference, we have some of the league's leaders here
Top
posted.
Right there.
Yeah. Ranger Suarez is the only pitcher with 7 or more wins, and he currently has 8. So,
yeah, right now, I don't think it's an argument to say that he is pitching like the best pitcher in baseball. Now, obviously, you got Zach Wheeler, who's also pitching very well. You've got Tyler Glasnow, who's also pitching very well. And do I think Ranger can sustain winning every single game of the season? Not likely, but
that'd be incredible.
That would be incredible. 33 wins, that would be incredible. Right now, Ranger Suarez is the best pitcher in baseball. That's not me being a homer. That's me looking at statistics. 1.39 ERA. He walks less than one batter a game. His ground ball rate is phenomenal. The dude is putting it all together. Ranger Suarez.
Yeah,
he's my who is hot.
Yeah, and Alec Bohm is kind of, in the same boat, right? He's cooled off a little bit in the last week or so, but he's still, a very good hitter. He just fell out of the top 5 in batting average, still hitting above 330. And with runners in scoring position, that's where he makes his money that he needs a lot more of and for a lot longer years, Phillies. But yeah, they just have players screaming hot all over the place. But to your point about the best pitcher in baseball, I think there is at least a debate to say Shota Imanga has been a very, very good pitcher as well. And Tarek Skubal from the Detroit Tigers also in the conversation for the best pitcher in baseball. They just happen to both play on teams that aren't as good as the team that Ranger Suarez plays on, so that they don't necessarily get the support. But Shota is 5-0 and an ERA below 1 on a really bad Cubs team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, and then obviously the Detroit Tigers, huge surprise so far early in the season, but Tarek Skubal has been fantastic.
All right.
Yeah. And then on the hitter side, so at the leaders in batting average real quick, we'll do Shohei Ohtani at 358. Steven Kwan's batting 353. So is William Contreras from Milwaukee. Trey Turner still actually qualifies for the league leaders in batting average. You need 3.1 plate appearances per team game played. So he's hitting 343, and Mookie Betts rounds out the top 5, hitting 341. Ranger Suarez has 8 wins, like I said. Then the next 4 pitchers, Tyler Glasnow, Seth Lugo, Tarek Skubal, and Chris Sale with a bounce-back year all have 6 wins. Kyle Tucker and Shohei Ohtani lead the NL and AL in home runs, respectively. Gunnar Henderson's up there as well. Marcell Ozuna and Aaron Judge round out the top 5.
It's crazy that Mike Trout had 10 home runs a month and a half ago, and the highest home run leader right now is 13.
Yeah, Mike Trout had Well, not a month and a half ago, but yeah, at the end of April, Mike Trout had 10 home runs. Yeah, that he was on a torrid pace as far as, just power goes for the season. And then to the old man's point, I do want to touch on this. Ellie De La Cruz with 30 stolen bases, and the next closest person has 17. One of the most exciting players to watch in baseball, Ellie De La Cruz. I mean,
he's on that Reds team that I keep saying is the most fun team to watch in baseball right now.
Yeah, they're just fantastic. So, but yeah, that's those are the league leaders in certain stats, and we'll keep an eye on who's hot. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Trey Turner comes back. The Phillies just keep vibing and winning, but he's obviously a very big part to their success. So,
yeah, I would agree. Yeah, 3 strikes, right?
Oh yeah, 3 strikes. Okay, this one's going to be tougher. I'm tired of you beating up on me in Immaculate Grid.
Yeah, you keep making these 3 strikes pretty tough on me. I don't get any of them anymore.
Oh, you were on 2 in a row until you missed the 1 2 weeks ago.
That's true, yeah.
And to be honest, you actually just missed on your foul tip question. You overthought it a little bit there. So, real quick, 3 strikes trivia. So I come up with a trivia question to ask Bill, and how it works is I ask him a question, he gets a guess. If he gets it wrong, I give him a hint. He gets a guess. If he gets it wrong, he gets what's called a foul tip question, right? Instead of being, 3 strikes, you're out. He gets a multiple choice A or B, yes or no question. If he gets it right, he gets another hint. And then if he gets, it wrong after that hint, I reveal the answer. This is a player's name you've seen before. I have used this player on Immaculate Grid. You've used this player on Immaculate Grid. So it'll be a tough question, but you've seen this before. Green chair. Bam. Okay. Who has the most doubles in MLB history? Mind you, baseball's been around since 1869. And I asked the people watching, if you know the answer, please hold off. I will give it about a minute at the end before I reveal the answer. And then you can put your guesses in the chat if you so desire.
All right, Tony Gwynn. Let me get my first hint.
Strike 1. First hint. This player played for 4 teams from 1907 to 1928. So Tony Gwynn wasn't even a glisten in his daddy's eye when this player was playing baseball.
4 teams. 07. The Babe. Give me my other hint.
Okay. The Babe. 2. He was primarily known as a center fielder for the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox. You'd probably know him better for the Cleveland Indians.
All right, so I'm trying to think of power hitters who weren't power hitters in 1910.
That's pretty much everybody except Babe Ruth.
Yeah. So, yeah. The only center fielder that comes to mind for the Indians is Earl Webb.
Is that your guess?
It's the only one I could think of.
All right. Foul tip question. And it plays right into this one's question. How many players have 700 career doubles? A4, B6.
How many players have 700 career doubles? 6.
Final answer?
Final answer. Yeah.
Bill, unfortunately, catcher caught your foul ball. We're going to have to. The last question, though. Career 345 hitter with 792 doubles in his career. Just shy
Joe
of
Medwick.
800. Who?
Joe Medwick.
No, that is incorrect. I will give it about 30 seconds. So I have, like I said, I've used this player quite a bit in Immaculate Grid. The old man is correct. It is Mr. Tris Speaker. He played for 4 teams. He started out the first 9 years with Boston, played the next 11 years with Cleveland, and then in his last 2 seasons, he spent one of them with the Philadelphia Athletics and the other one with the Kansas City Royals, I want to say.
Question mark? Okay.
Yeah, there was another team. Yeah, there's another team.
You keep
in there,
beating up on me in 3 strikes.
Yeah, it was Tris Speaker. So, but yeah, that's I just wanted it to be a little harder, but a name that like you've familiarly seen, so it wouldn't be impossible. Think about that though, 792 doubles. That's nuts.
That is nuts.
The other players with 700 career doubles, I know the names, and I have all of a sudden forgotten them. Okay, so Tris Speaker, Pete Rose, Ty Cobb, Stan the Man, Stan Musial.
Charlie Hustle doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, so Pete Rose had 746, which given the fact that he played, 20 years after Stan Musial, like at his prime, maybe, just given the error, right? Like even Stan Musial's error, like 700 doubles is absolutely like insane.
Yeah.
And then, so Speaker, Rose, Stan the Man had 725, and Ty Cobb had 724.
Well, there you go. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, so Ken Brandt says, I win, LOL. Looks like I'm just the only person not getting any W's today. So that being said, Bill, we do have a potential giveaway, do we not? Maybe 300 subscribers, we do a giveaway?
Yeah. Talk.
Yeah. So Bill and I were talking yesterday, and he wants to do a 300 subs giveaway. We are obviously, big card collectors amongst the 3 of us. 3 of us being myself, my Dynasty Fantasy Football Podcast co-host Jake Krogan, who is still traveling the world currently. So we will actually be meeting up shortly for another episode. And then Bill, of course, we are all big card collectors. That being said, we did a giveaway for 200 subs. It was awesome. We gave away 3 cards. I believe Fantasy Dads on Twitter won that one. So the way this giveaway is going to work, if we can hit 300 YouTube subs by the All-Star break for MLB, we will be doing a card giveaway. What'll happen is at the end of this episode, I'll put a tweet out there. We'll take pictures of the card. We'll post them on Twitter, and you can go ahead and ask Fantasy Dad. We did honor our agreement. We actually more than honored our agreement because we only advertised 1 card and we gave away 3. So, but yeah, that's that's kind of the way that we're going to move about this. 300 YouTube subs by the MLB All-Star break. All you have to do, subscribe to the channel, like, and retweet the post. That's all you got to do to get your name in the entry.
The card that we are giving away is a Topps 35-year anniversary Ellie De La Cruz rookie card.
Very nice.
If I can get the glare off of it. Like I said, it is the 89 series Ellie De La Cruz rookie card. It's got his stats on the back. It's been in this hard case since I pulled it out of a pack. It's in very good condition. This is the card we will be giving away.
Yeah, so 300 YouTube subs by the All-Star break. Let's make it happen. I think we're at 217 right now. So, guys, all you got to do is like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you win. That's pretty easy, right? It's all free. And then, once we hit 300, we'll do the spin wheel to decide who gets the card, and then we will reach out to you probably via Twitter. So
correct.
Are we going lefty or righty today? What kind of
I think we need the righty up.
Yeah. Let's get me some Jeff Hoffman in here, who had a fantastic outing the other day, getting 2 runners on with nobody out and getting himself out of that jam. Let's go to the righty.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for us here on B.S.ing Sports, part of the B.S.ing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Thank you and have a great day.